Okay, guys, welcome back to the channel. So, we have a big one today because just literally less than 24 hours ago, Geekdom 101, I think everyone knows this guy, of course, right? They made a live stream together with Slowplay and they talked about a lot of new stuff that are going to be in the game in Xenoverse 3, right? And there's a lot of stuff happening, guys. This game apparently is going to act almost like a soft reboot, so to speak. And also, this is a very interesting part. There's going to be new gods of destruction. Now, let's start there because that's the biggest part. Time gods of destruction. What the hell is this? How is this going to work? Wow, this is it. So the ultimate threat. Apparently, this might be the antagonist or the bad guys of the game, for basically, which are the time gods of destruction. And these time gods of destruction basically erase entire timelines which are not playing by the rules or are a threat to the timelines or the universe or whatever, right? Which is very, very interesting. Um, yeah, so these entities do not destroy planets, they erase entire anomalous timelines. While not as strong as Zeno, their jurisdiction power over the mechanics of time is absolute, right? So, yeah, pruning branching timelines that threaten to destabilize the space-time continuum. Now, obviously, this is where I'm gonna ask like a question. Okay, how can there be different timelines? That means that someone is trying to fly across these timelines and potentially cause distortion. And then when that happens, these gods of destruction they basically completely erase a timeline, right? Which is crazy. So yeah, quite crazy stuff. Then they may have this one the following. Apparently, the god's biology. So they will have two forms. This is what Geekdom is saying in his live stream. The first one is going to be a small, deceptive, chibi-like reptilian form, comparable to a Digimon Agumon, for example, right? And then after that, the transformation, the unleashed transformation, is an aggressive monster and capable of timeline erasure. The design motif, prehistoric dinosaurs, Triceratops, for example, merged with the divine chronal architecture, right? So I don't know how it's going to look like, of course. I mean, you could speculate basically, but it could be that it has like a dinosaur's head, very muscular when it transforms, and then he's going to have, or they're going to have some sort of clothing similar to what Beerus has, right, in terms of clothing per se. Now, if this turns out to be true, and these gods of time destruction are going to be the bad guys, it would be pretty crazy, right? At least four distinct time gods of destruction are confirmed to be operating within the game's core narrative. So there's four of them apparently. Four, four bosses potentially, right? A mysterious fifth black hooded entity exists at the center of the hierarchy. And then, current working theory, this apex entity is either the supreme leader of the faction or a catastrophic biological fusion from the four base gods, right? It could be a fusion from them, of course. Maybe like after you defeat each of them individually, then they will fuse together, and then you have to overcome the one final mega super boss who's going to have the abilities of the other gods of time destruction, right? Now, again, this would be crazy if it's true. Obviously, Gigdom said in his video that basically this is true. So this is what's going to happen. So he knows first for a fact because insiders, he has good connections. They told him about this, right? Which is crazy. So yeah, the game will completely shift gears here because this is a brand new unexplored territory. So the Xenoverse narrative engine. First, you have the Erased Past. So, Future Saga DLC corrupts Chronora, triggering the absolute wiping of the legacy of the Xenoverse 2 timeline, potentially. The Age 1000 sandbox. The player awakens in a soft rebooted West City, joining the Great Siam and squad under tech lead Bulma to rebuild the history via the Soul Links. So, this is crazy stuff, right? That's a crazy story. So, the entire timeline from Xenoverse has been erased, and you are a survivor, right? And then the temporal predators, the time gods of destruction, arrive to aggressively prune the newly altered timelines, forcing the ultimate endgame conflict. So, Xenoverse 3 is not just a sequel, it is a battle for the right to exist against the immune system of the multiverse itself, right? Because the gods of destruction are the immune agents, right? The white blood cells, which are basically purging the let's say infected timelines, right, or the unaccepted timelines. And yeah, this is this is this is pretty crazy stuff, man. Let's talk more about other stuff as well. So we have the fact that the game itself also, so it's going to be a completely different reboot. As I said before, see, the old paradigm was like Dragon Ball Online, Heroes Era, Time Breakers, Mira, Toa, Demikra, right? And then the next one, Age 1000, is going to be a fresh temporal canvas, fully aligned with Akira Toriyama's definitive Demon Realm lore established during the Daima production. So now, because we have a proper Demon Realm lore, you can integrate the Demon Realm with the Universe Realm and the Earth Realm and all these things and the Kaioshin. So it's much more cohesive now, right? Which makes sense. Yeah, so Age 1000 again, we have the Great Saiyaman Squad. Bulma is a tactical lead engineer, so she's not a god of destruction herself. She's just a tactical lead engineer, which makes sense, right? Maybe she makes time machines, so you can go back in time and save different timelines from erasure, potentially, right? Temporal deletion of and time gods, right? Which is very different. So Bulma's youth is maintained via the time travel nexus, right? She acts as the lead engineer, the Tony Stark tech support, entirely removing her from frontline combat operations. So she's just going to be there for for tech support, for giving you advice, for maybe creating certain like time machines or some time mechanisms basically to try to travel in time or like try to fix things, right? Basically, right? So yeah, the vibe is basically like an immersive coming of age MMO light structure. So it's going to be an MMO light structure. Starts as a rookie in a futuristic West City before altering past sagas. The mission is players must actively launch backward to time to interact with legacy canon events. So again, similar, right, to Xenoverse 2. And maybe that's how you're going to unlock the soul link, and maybe that's how you're going to unlock the characters, and then you're gonna bring them back with you, right, basically, and then you can use them for your abilities. And then the setup set deep into the future, classic heroes, and physically absent from the central hub world. Very interesting stuff. We have here, for example, Saiyan Saga Invasion, Great Ape Vegeta, Cell Games Arena. So you will maybe potentially still have to go back in time to fix certain aspects of the time, because the gods of destruction of time are going to want to basically destroy everything, right? Now, the combat evolution, you have the invocation, spiritual channeling, and execution. So built on an action RPG MMO foundation, features noticeable smoother modeling and snappier combat links than Sparking Zero. The mechanic legendary fighters are native to the past, so the CAC mutual spiritually channel them to utilize iconic techniques like the Garlic Gun, which we've seen in the mission, right? Vegeta just suddenly spawns and he does the attack as well with you together, right? Honoring the original manga geometry, right? So this is the funny stuff there. So you will still be able to channel their help and summon them, so they will be able to support you with the things, right? Now, also the Super Saiyan 3 leak. So confirmed via Summer Game Fest press showcase, Super Saiyan 3 is fully animated, unlockable transformation featuring dynamic hair growth. That's pretty awesome. A massive leap from the static modeling in Xenoverse 2. Cross-platform multiplayer is also top tier priority. The underlying network technology has already been actively field tested via the Dragon Ball The Breakers. So again, they've tried this already, they tested it, so it's going to have all the systems working together in a cross play. Yes, Goku is entirely absent from all combat trailers, like Luke Skywalker. His physical reveal is being strictly withheld for a major third act narrative climax. So that's interesting. So Goku will show, but when he shows, is going to be just absolutely crazy. The white style boots hint at a monumental shift. Goku has ascended beyond mortal fighting, potentially operating in an angelic or grand priest capacity by age 1000, right? So, yeah, so potentially Goku is going to be some sort of being. He is still alive, and maybe he is fighting on a different scale in the universe, right? Which would be pretty awesome. But yeah, so that is for the information so far. I made this summary from this like 2 hour discussion, which of course I highly recommend. I'm gonna leave you guys a link to the video on Geekdom's channel. So yeah, check him out because this one is really good, guys. But yeah, so far we have all these new bits, which are pretty crazy, and I believe that the time gods of destruction is going to be insane, right? We have one here. Xenoverse 3 is set to introduce the time gods of destruction. They destroy timelines that don't preserve the balance of space-time continuum. Now, of course, that's based on the judgment of the gods themselves, right? So I guess they have some sort of like judgment on this or some sort of like standard saying that, oh, this timeline deviated too much, so now we have to get rid of it in the story, right? And also, to just end this video, we also have some information about Sparking Zero as well, which is really cool. So Bandai Namco have actually updated their Sparking Zero playlist today. Are we finally going to get the Sparking Zero Neo release trailer? So yeah, so their playlist has been updated. That means that they added a new video on the playlist, right? So that means that the trailer for Sparking Zero may be coming this week or next week, potentially. So yeah, guys, that's it for this one. It's pretty awesome, honestly. I mean, obviously, websites are talking about this as well. Dragon Ball Leaker says Xenoverse 3 is introducing the time gods of destruction, as you can see here. So yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. If this happens, honestly, the whole concept and gameplay is going to be so huge. Like the entire premise is that this may act like a soft reboot of sorts, and at the same time trying to better connect the demon realm with the Daima, with the Dragon Ball, with Dragon Ball Z, with obviously after the events of Dragon Ball as well. So they're trying to basically make it better connected, so to speak, right? So I think this is why another reason why they decided to do this soft reset, in which the timeline from Xenoverse 2 potentially has been completely erased. I'm not sure. Maybe that's potentially a possibility, right? As you can see here, and this one here where we talk about it, of course, like the actual timeline, the Xenoverse 2 timeline could actually be damaged or erased. So it's going to be up to us to basically save humanity once more with the Great Saiyaman Patrol. So guys, that's it for today's video on this one. Quite exciting, honestly. And as always, I shall see you later in the next videos. Bye.